Today we have a very exciting Unearthed Arcana we are talking about, and also just a reminder of the feedback that we already got.
Yes, so we have gotten the survey results from both the Cartographer and the Artificer revised surveys, as well as the survey about the Forgotten Realms subclasses. Again, we always really appreciate your feedback. It is always super, super helpful and influential. We were really excited to see the wide swath of feedback we got. It really helped shape things, and we were really excited to show you the final versions when they come out in their respective books later on this year.
We have a very horror-themed Unearthed Arcana for everyone at home. What's top of the list?
So, top of the list is actually a new subclass for the Artificer.
I am so excited for this.
It's one of those things for the Artificer where it fits the narrative of the Artificer so perfectly, but in a way that doesn't quite fit in like the Eberron setting.
Yeah.
So this is the Reanimator. This takes heavy inspiration from classics like Frankenstein. This is your raising animating corpses, raising things from the dead Artificer. This is stitching together flesh golems Artificer. The sort of crux of the subclass is this reanimated companion that you raise from the dead. And we wanted to play around with the idea of a companion that's very sort of modular and alterable, where because you are raising this from bits of flesh, you can stitch things on, take things off, alter what glands are in it, that sort of very disgusting process. So a lot of the features that you'll get as you sort of level up sort of enhance and develop this lovely reanimated flesh friend. The other thing that's fun about this reanimated companion is that because it is made of dead flesh, it has you can make it explode.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just cause it to. It is a putrid sack of flesh.
Yeah.
And it can explode.
Perfect.
And then you just bring it back.
All right.
You also get some fun spells, like all of our artificers do, as well as some fun interactions with revivification spells as well. There's some fun interactions with Spare the Dying, as well as like Revivify and Raise Dead, which I think is going to be super fun and kind of fits into this weird necromancy niche that this Artificer kind of sits in.
What's the next on the list?
And then next is a lovely returning friend, the College of Spirits for the Bard.
Right.
This first appeared in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, and we have given it the lovely sort of glow up that all of our subclasses are getting as with the new rules. So the College of Spirits overall is meant to be this like a spirit medium, ghost channeling bard.
Yeah.
And so a lot of our improvements for the subclass really leaned into sort of improving the subclass overall and just sort of really even more pressing into that narrative of being a channeling those otherworldly spirits from beyond the veil.
Right.
So the majority of sort of improvements that you will see in the subclass are all in the Spirits from Beyond table, formerly known as the Tales from Beyond table. We really wanted to make those tales easy to use, instantaneous, rewarding, and also really like fun and flavorful in terms of narrative, and like really leaning into these sort of archetypal ghosts, which is super fun. We've also, as the subclass grows, you get a little bit more control over the tales that you can channel, so it's not entirely purely just based on random luck. You have a little bit more control over them, and we've given you a fun new 6th level feature that gives you a very iconic sort of dealing with spirits spell, Spirit Guardians. And you get a fun, unique way of casting that, very similar to how some of our other bard subclasses, like the College of Glamour, get unique ways of interacting with other spells.
What do we have after that?
Next is another returning friend, the very classic Grave Domain for the Cleric.
Yes.
So we wanted to keep that same sort of feeling of like pushing someone closer to death or like pulling them back from the brink, and sort of that balance of walking that line while giving you more control and agency over what you're doing. So you'll see a lot of improvements in the Channel Divinity. We've sort of re-zhuzhed up the spell list as well to sort of give a little bit more utility, a balance between utility and damage. Your Sentinel at Death's Door now can trigger on any hit, not just a critical hit, so you have a way higher chance of actually seeing it and using it. And it still does essentially the same effect of having the damage. So your crit becomes a regular hit, and then your regular hit, if you use it on that, becomes even less. So you have lots more utility there. And we've also just buffed up a couple of its other features to really lean more into the spookier death side of things. So instead of just being a cleric that does a little bit of like walking on the edge and pulling things back to life, you can also just sort of shove things over the line and push them back into death. So there's a little bit more offensive capabilities baked in there. At 3rd level, you get a little bit of that. With Circle of Mortality, you get both a life feature, which is what we've kept from the old version, where you revive a creature at 0 and you can use the max roll. And you get a little bit of a death feature, where if you're hitting a bloody creature, you do a little bit of extra necrotic damage. So we really wanted to play with that balance of, you can heal, but also you can hurt. And it's been super fun, kind of keeping the core of the Grave Domain and the things that people really love, while also just giving it just a wonderful shine.
We got, I think, is the Ranger next?
The Ranger's next.
Yeah,
this
so
is a
we've
new
got
one.
Spooky Ranger.
Spooky Ranger! This one was so much fun. Spooky Ranger. This is a entirely new subclass, kind of built around folk horror archetypes, called the Hollow Warden.
Okay.
I had a stint recently where I was really into old folk tales, cryptids, like the very imagery of like the forest shrouded in fog with like the eyes just in the night. Like, I love it. I love it so much. And so this subclass is built around sort of drawing on like the cryptids and forest terrors and these ancient forest guardians, and really looking at the ranger's relationship to nature at its most bloodthirsty and violent. Nature, like when you see Guardians of Nature, we always like, there's like the peaceful variety, and then there are the more terrifying
like
ones.
Old Norse mythology things that live in the forest.
Like our Appalachian mythology, where it's like the forest is old and you do not mess with it. And so the inspiration for the Hollow Warden is this ranger that takes power from these ancient, ineffable beings of nature that are older than almost anything we know. And so you become this, essentially you channel and you can transform into almost a cryptid yourself. And you become this absolute like Hulk and tank of a ranger, which has been super fun to sort of play around with that aesthetic and those mechanics.
It sounds like very customizable in your head. Like, like everyone, I mean, because cryptids are so popular and so fun. Like, but everyone gravitates towards a different one. Yeah. So like the one of the other things that was super fun about the subclass was kind of leaving it open, where like my inspiration is like the old woods and like, you know, we live in the Pacific Northwest, so the Pacific Northwest sort of forest mountain aesthetic. But like this is a ranger that you could place anywhere and kind of customize to whatever ancient nature terror you want to draw upon when you sort of take on this subclass. Like several of our other ranger subclasses, this gets a wonderful spell list, and like we've been experimenting with some of our other subclasses for the ranger, because Hunter's Mark is now built into the ranger core, we can play with some really fun alterations with how Hunter's Mark works. So for this one, when you cast Hunter's Mark, you transform into this otherworldly hunter yourself, and you essentially become that kind of cryptid. You draw on whatever cryptid elements that you want. Like for me, I was always imagining like those like big antlers that are kind of like blood-stained, stuff like that. At later levels, you get boost to your Constitution, which will help you, maintain that Hunter's Mark until you get to your higher levels. You also get the ability to heal up whenever you hit an attack and you're bloodied, you can just siphon energy. And you just become, even as the subclass goes on, you become bigger and more eerie, and you have this sort of just unsettling emanation around you. And it's super. I'm very excited to see what people think. I'm
tell. Like, I don't want to spoil it, but it's very cool.
What else do we have?
And next up, we have the Phantom, another returning lovely from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. And we love our ghost rogue in this house. So like with a lot of subclasses that are kind of fan favorites, a lot of the updates we gave are just kind of giving it a little bit more shine, giving it a little bit more fun and a little bit more flavor. So with this one of the fun updates we've given to subclasses is that you can cast Speak with Dead now.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
You just get a whole new feature. You can just cast Speak with Dead now.
Yeah.
We've also sort of given you some improvements to how your soul trinkets work.
Yeah.
Being able to more reliably gather up those soul trinkets, because a lot of the cool things of the subclass really key off those soul trinkets. So we wanted to make it more easy and more reliable for you to use those cool features, rather than just waiting for something to die.
Yeah.
And waiting for something to die within a certain radius and having your reaction free to be able to do the thing. It's like now you can just sort of, the souls kind of come to you, and if you want to replenish those soul trinkets, you still have that ability to do so as a reaction in combat. But now you don't have to rely on that and try and maneuver yourself to be in the right position and at the right time to get those soul trinkets.
But far less situational now.
Yeah, a lot of that was taking the Mother May I out of the Phantom and giving you a lot more opportunity to freely be that little shadowy rogue that walks the line between life and death.
Perfect.
Next up, we have Shadow Sorcery, which is returning to us from Xanathar's Guide to Everything.
Yeah.
And this one was fun, really leaning into Shadow Sorcery as first and foremost the subclass about not just darkness and shadow and literal shadow, but also as a harbinger of doom.
Yeah.
But we also wanted to play on the things that people love about the subclass, which is shadow magic.
Yeah.
You can see things and play with shadows and cast darkness and all those sorts of things. So all of that stays. We've kept the dark vision, and we've kept the spells. We've expanded the spells you can get, and there's a lot more you can do with spells that create magical darkness. So we've given you a whole bunch of new spells. We've kept your ability to teleport in darkness. We've bumped up and improved the Strength of the Grave, which originally appeared at 3rd level, now kind of in line with a lot of our sort of cheat death features that appear in subclasses, has now been immensely beefed up and moved up to 18th level. So you're not doing the oscillating, I'm up, I'm down, I'm up, I'm down. It really gives you a little bit more bite, a little bit more heft when that feature does trigger. Your lovely Hound Companion now loops through the Summon Undead spell, which keeps a lot of the things that we loved about the Hound, and you can kind of shape it still to be however you like, but it also gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of running it, changing it depending on your situation, because you can alter between the different forms of that spell.
Right.
So that's a really exciting development to the Shadow Sorcery subclass that I'm excited to see what people think about.
Very cool. And then, I believe we're going to see
and the Warlocks get a double feature.
Yeah. Okay.
Our beloved Hexblade, if you cannot tell, I love me some swords, and so the Hexblade is returning. And Hexblade gave us this really interesting opportunity in that a lot of the things that people really loved about the Hexblade, we actually moved to the base Pact of the Blade.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is super exciting and a super great buff to Pact of the Blade fans everywhere, which I am not complaining about. But that gave us a wonderful opportunity when we were revisiting the Hexblade to really hone in on what makes the Hexblade special. And what makes the Hexblade so cool is that your patron isn't some far-off entity or an eldritch being or an angel or a demon. It's a sword.
Yeah.
It's a sentient talking sword. It might be the sword you're carrying.
Yeah.
And so we really wanted to lean into what kind of power would a sword give you? What kind of ability would a sword be able to bestow? A sword that powerful and that omnipotent. What would they be able to bestow upon people who pledge themselves to a sword?
Yeah.
So it was really fun kind of exploring that. The other thing that we really liked to explore at the Hexblade was this idea of, well, if you have this really powerful, omnipotent sword who is, giving out motes of its power to individuals, it probably doesn't just want like warlocks who wield weapons. It probably wants like warlocks who are more studious, or warlocks who maybe follow the pact of the, or maybe who take on the pact of the chain. They want, like any other warlock patron, a Hexblade patron should want a variety of different warlocks to kind of further their goals, whatever their strange and powerful goals as a sword might be.
Yeah.
So the other fun thing we had to play with in the subclass was making it so that you didn't have to be a sword-wielding warlock to pledge yourself to a sword, the Hexblade patron.
Yeah.
And so what we've done is we have sort of taken the Hexblade and we've really built it around the Hex spell, which fits almost perfectly given that it's in the name.
Yeah.
And so when you get a bunch of castings of Hex, and when you cast it, you get a special version of Hex that actually like summons up a copy of your patron that sort of orbits the person that you've cursed. And that spectral echo of your patron can do a bunch of fun magical things, like siphon some of their energy, or just sort of like even like harrow the target if the target like attacks someone else. Like that spectral blade can, slice them and interplay with that cursed target more so than just dealing that little bit of extra damage.
Right. Yeah. Perfect.
And so we really sort of leaned into that and are really exploring this idea of the Hexblade is a blade that shows up when you cast Hex.
Yeah.
This is a subclass that you can use as a melee-focused, combat-focused warlock, but you can also use it if you decide you want to be sort of in the back lines, casting with your Tome of Shadows or something like that. There's a lot more flexibility based in the subclass, but also a lot more narrative richness to it. And I'm really excited to see what folks think, and I'm excited to see people sink their teeth into this new take on the Hexblade. It was certainly super fun to design, and I'm very excited to see people take it out for a spin.
This one I've been very curious about because of how much of the Hexblade ended up in just Pact of the Blade, which was just a smart thing to do because that was the wish fulfillment you wanted, but now you have to build out the Hexblade even more.
Yeah, we get to, and I think that was something that was actually like such a fun little blessing with the Hexblade. People love the Hexblade because you get to pledge to a sword, a very malevolent, strange sword of varying varieties, and getting to play with how that might manifest beyond what it was previously was such a fun narrative and mechanical exercise. And I'm really excited for people to take it out and see how it plays and stuff.
I'm such a Unearthed Arcana nerd. Like every time, like I can never stick to one character because every time I see a new subclass, I'm like, that's my favorite one. That's my favorite one.
But we have one more subclass.
We have one more subclass. It's gonna be the Undead Warlock.
Yay!
Which I loved.
Yes. And last but certainly not least, the wonderful Undead Warlock returns from Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. This is you've pledged yourself to a lich or some other like vampire or something like that. This is a really fun subclass. People love this subclass, and like with a lot of those fan favorite subclasses, a lot of our job in this revision was just kind of giving it a shine and making it easier to use. Like with a lot of our warlocks, we've given you, instead of just expanding your spell list, you always have these spells prepared. We have sort of even more increased the relationship to the necrotic and to the undead than it had previously done, where you can do necrotic damage more frequently, and your necrotic damage will bypass necrotic resistance, which is super fun for that sort of super powered undead warlock who's drawing that undead power. It only made sense for your necrotic damage to feel super powerful. We also wanted to make sure that it played well with, speaking of updates to Pact of the Blade, we wanted to make sure this subclass played well with updates to the core Warlock. One of the wonderful things about the new Pact of the Blade is that you can just deal necrotic damage, or you can swap the type of damage that it deals. And so some of the core features in the subclass that are built around necrotic damage were reworked to kind of be compatible with that new with the updates to Pact of the Blade, to make sure that no matter what way you're dealing necrotic damage, whether it's through attacks or spells or what have you, you are getting the benefits of your undead patron. And then last but certainly not least, we've improved the capstone feature so that you are no longer juggling your body and your spirit. So you're no longer like separating your spirit from your body.
Right, yeah.
You have to like make sure your body's taking a nap in a safe place while you're doing things.
Yeah.
It's now so to sort of avoid that headache of tracking your body and your spirit, but they all kind of congeal into the same health pool.
Yeah.
It is just a straight buff to your form of dread. Your form of dread becomes powerful. A lot of the special boons that were part of the sort of spirit projection thing have sort of migrated over.
All right. Yeah. That's our video on the horror subclasses. Again, do not forget to fill out once the form is out there. Fill out the survey results.
Yep.
That helps us make D&D better.
Yes.
We appreciate your time, and check it out.
Yep.
Get playtesting.